Kanon's secret. One evening, and a few days later after the flat controller brought Kannon back to Sodor from the mainland, Murdoch was running late. He was worried about his driver. He had not been feeling well since lunchtime, and it began to make Murdoch feel worried. "I'm sorry, Murdoch," said his driver. "I can't continue your run for the rest of the day, he said. "I have to go to the station and talk to the station master." That's all right, Tim," replied Murdoch. "You just need to see a doctor, that's all." They stopped at the station, and Murdoch's driver climbed out of Murdoch's cab and went into the station to ask the station master all about the situation. "Not to worry, a relief driver will take care of your engine tomorrow," he said. He had just got out of the station when he heard Murdoch's voice. "Don't touch that!" shouted Murdoch. There, inside Murdoch's cab, was a teenage boy. He got so bored that he felt like fiddling with Murdoch's controls. Now Murdoch began to lose control. "Help! Help!" he cried. Murdoch's driver tried to run after Murdoch, but it was too late. Murdoch began racing down too fast and sped past by other engines. And he raced through stations and raced past by where Frank was. "He's heading straight for the sheds," shouted Frank, but it was too late. Just then, Kannon came around the bend to go back to the sheds. When he heard Murdoch's whistle, he was most surprised. "Turntable manager," he said, "turn the turntable on the third shed," he shouted. "Right," said the turntable manager. He turned the turntable in the right way, and Murdoch, trying so hard to stop, crashed into the turntable well. And then Kanon's driver immediately took the boy out of Murdoch's cab and shut off Murdoch's steam. "Are you all right, Murdoch?" asked Kannon. "Well," said Murdoch, I am all right, but my buffers are bent," he said. "Thank you for saving me, Kannon." "No problem at all," said Kannon. "It would have been unpleasant if we crashed into each other." "Quite right," said Murdoch happily. Later, the two big engines met Frank at the big station. But Frank and Murdoch both thanked Kannon for what he did. "You were very brave, Kannon," said Frank. What would we have done without you?" "Well, it wouldn't have been very good if this crash started," said Kannon doubtfully. "But I have managed to save your front, although it is damaged." "Don't worry," said Murdoch. "I'll be going to the works tomorrow anyway," he said. "Thank you for saving me. You were splendid." "I was," replied Kannon. But don't mention it again," he said. "This has delayed me enough. I'm going back to the sheds," he said, and he puffed away whilst Donald was puffing back to the station with his passenger train. The next morning, Douglas and Kannon were all alone in the sheds. Douglas was very pleased to hear what Kannon done for Murdoch last night. "You were a very brave engine, Kannon," said Douglas. "Donald and Murdoch and Frank told me all about what you did. You were a hero." "I was a hero, yes," said Kannon, "but I'm still the best," he said. I may think so," said Douglas, "but you really are a true great engine." "Thank you," said Kannon, "for saying that about me," he said. He smiled, thinking how nice Douglas was being to him. "You know, Douglas," he said, before he was about to say anything, he saw something. Neville came around the bend and through the shed, and what Kannon saw was an explosive car with its doors unsecured, and they were never closed. Since what in the blazes does he think he's playing at? Said Kannon. What do you mean? Asked Douglas. That box-top car with dynamite is gonna cause an explosion if those doors are not shut properly, he said. He quickly told the turntable manager to turn the turntable, and Kannon steamed off. "Where's he going?" asked Douglas, but no one replied. A short while after, Neville had just arrived at the docks when he heard an engine's whistle. It was Kannon. "Hey," said Kannon, "don't you know that your boxcar has its doors unsecured?" "No," said Neville. "Why's that? I thought the manager had closed the doors." "I don't think he has, which is unreliable of him," said Kannon. Then Neville looked back. "Why, bless me," he said. "Thank you, Kannon," he said. "Without your help, I could have caused an accident." "Indeed you could have," said Kannon. Must never leave a boxcar's doors opened while they're not supposed to," he said. "You know you could have caused an accident if you haven't have reminded him," he said. You would have put your goods train and yourself in danger." Neville was cross. "I do try my best," he said. "I was trying, and I am trying to keep Sodor safe." "Well, keep it safe then," said Kannon, "because you're going to need it." After the doors were closed, Neville did say so. "Well, Kannon," he said, "thanks for the reminder, but I'll remember to remind my driver and fireman or the manager next time. Goodbye, and sorry if it was not secure." "That's all right," replied Kannon, and Neville was on his way. Meanwhile, Douglas was in the sheds resting when his twin Donald puffed up. He could see that the Scottish engine looked worried. "Dougie," asked Donald, "you look a bit worried." "I think I am, Donald," he said. I was talking to Kannon this morning," he said, and then when Neville passed by, I think he was chasing after him." "For what reason?" asked Donald. "Well," said Douglas, "after he told me he came from a heritage railway, I told him what a brave engine he was saving Murdoch last night," he said. "Well," said Donald, "that's what he told me too," he said. "After all, he may look heritage, he said, but he is really useful," he said. Maybe Kannon was trying to save Neville's back from the trucks being troublesome, or from a safety issue, said Douglas. Maybe one of the doors from his boxcar has come undone, he said. "Oh, well, what? Oh," said Donald. "Then why didn't he say so after he left you?" He asked. I dinna ken," said Douglas. "Maybe you could ask Duck next time, or Neville, if any of them are around." "Maybe," said Donald, and he puffed away to see about it. Later, Neville was taking on water at the water tower from the big station. He was still grumpy when Duck puffed up with his passenger train. Duck looked worried. "Neville?" he asked. "You don't look so good today." "I'm not," shouted Neville, and This kannon engine told me off for putting my goods train in danger. Who does he think he is? Well, said Duck, maybe he was trying to save you. Well, maybe he was trying to get me into trouble or something like that, grumbled Neville. He thinks telling other engines off on purpose makes it better. But Duck was worried. He's really a useful engine, he said. I don't know what this is about, he said. I'll have to ask Donald or Douglas what he is up to. Then we can sort this out. And he puffed away. Later, after he had delivered his passenger train, he arrived back to the big station where Donald was taking on water. Then Duck soon asked, "Do you know where Kannon is?" he asked. "Well," he said, "I was too busy thinking about what Dougie told me a few moments ago," he said. He told me Kannon worked at the Heritage Railway after he and Kannon were talking about saving Murdoch. "Well, that's what he told me too," said Duck, and he told Donald about what he was saying to Neville and what Neville told him. "Well," said Donald, "I'm not sure if he is trying to do a favour or whatever not," he said. "I'll have to go talk to him." "Here I am," said a voice. There was Kannon puffing in next to Donald. "I haven't got anything to hide from you, Donald," he said. "Now what's this about? Go on." Said Donald. "We were talking about how really useful you are," he said, "and about how you know how to keep goods trains safe." "That's very good," said Kannon, and he soon realised they were talking about his Heritage Railway. "You know, Kannon," he said, "you remind me of someone from a long time ago," said Donald. "What do you mean?" asked Kannon. "Well," said Duck, one of those engines that had the same colour as Thomas told us about a black tank engine with red stripes that went tumbling down a mountain cab over wheels," he said. And she said that after he had been sent away in disgrace, he was sent to a Heritage Railway. Do you know this engine?" Kannon gasped. "Wait a sec," he said, and Donald began to look at him. "Yeah, and now he's been turned into a double tender engine, haven't you?" "Why, yes," continued Kannon, and started his story. "After my bad behaviour in the past," said Kannon with the start of his story, the manager left me on a scrap siding so that my parts would be used for spares for the other engines. That was why after I became so silly, I never had anything to do with his railway ever again," said Kannon. "And then some group of men bought me and decided to make me really useful," he said. "And that's how I was bought from the Heritage Railway from the mainland," he said. "And they promised I would be really useful." Then Duck was shocked. "You were that engine named 17? he said. "Why, yes," said Kannon. I was the engine who had the number 17, but was called 17 by then," he said. "I'll have to admit," he said, "after Neville's incident with the doors being opened, I was on his boxcar. I was trying to do him a favour and keep him safe." "Then you're a really useful engine," said Donald. "It's great having you on our railway." "You could say so, Donald," smiled Kannon. and the three were very happy with each other. Kannon was always a polite and friendly engine, but he was sometimes grumpy, which the other engines can always understand about. But he is very polite, really useful, and that was what all the other engines still like him about.